my Russ, and check-ins from some of the nicest hams in the universe starts in 5 minutes.
get ready for the Tuesday night serenade starting in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
CQ. This is W8WKY calling CQ for the Valentine's Day edition of the Silvercreek Amateur Radio Association Weekly Club Net. We meet every Tuesday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on the W8WKY repeater, which operates on a frequency of 147.39 megahertz, and we use a PL tone of 114.8 hertz. This is an open net, and all licensed amateurs are encouraged and welcome to check in. This is a controlled net, so all traffic should be sent through net control. Emergency or priority traffic may break into this net at any time. Your net controller this evening is Jerry. That's Juliet, Echo, Romeo, Romeo Yankee. My personal call sign is Kilo Charlie 8 Hotel Delta Papa KC8HDP. But during this net, I will be using the club call of Whiskey 8 Whiskey Kilo Yankee. With that being said, I will take a short break and be back with the announcements. Some of you may already know our good friend N8DLD Dan has become a silent key, and for details on this, we're going to call on KE8QFT Uncle Fred. Good evening, Uncle Fred. Would you please step up now and give us the details about N8DLD?
Well, thank you, Jerry. NAND services will be Thursday, February 16th, between 5 and 7 p.m. at the Hilliard Rospert Funeral Home, 174 North Lyman Street in Wadsworth. And the phone number there, in case anyone wants to confirm this, be 330-334-1501. So once again, it's at 5 to 7 p.m. Thursday at the Hilliard Rospert Funeral Home, 174 North Lyman Street in Wadsworth. And by the way, for those of you who used to go to the meetings in Wadsworth, it's that library was on the corner of Lyman and that main street in Wadsworth, just up from the the square there. It's on that same block as the library. Hope I didn't confuse anyone there. If I did, just ignore me and use your navigation devices. KE8QFT, back to net control.
Thank you, Fred, for providing that information about Dan's services. I know we're all going to miss him. He was a staple on many nets, and he always gave us a check-in for the numbers, and always enjoyed seeing him at Hamfest and at different events that we had, and he will be missed, and all of our sympathies go out to Dan's family and to Leah, and thank you once again for that, Uncle Fred. Well, now on to the other announcements. The next meeting of the SARA is coming up Thursday, February 16th at 7 p.m. The meeting starts at 7 p.m. with a business meeting followed by the technical presentation. The technical presentation this month will be an overview of the Sarah repeater system and basic all-star commands, and that will be given by our club president, Jason McCormick, N8EI. Those wishing to come for dinner should arrive around 5:45 p.m. Please note that beginning with the February meeting, Sarah will be meeting at the dugout room of the Green Diamond Grill in Barberton. The address for this is 125 2nd Street Northwest, Barberton, Ohio, 44203. Please note that the northwest part of the address is because there are 4 different 2nd Streets in Barberton, and mapping apps will take you to the wrong 2nd Street if you do not include the northwest in the address. As this will be our first time in the new location, please expect some hiccups in the service and arrangements. See w8wky.org/meetings for much more information. Break. February starts our Dues Are Due campaign for 2023. Sarah's membership year is April 1st through March 31st. Club dues represent over 90% of the club's annual revenue to support our members and execute on our core mission and events. Your dues fund our world-class repeater system, as well as our fun events such as Field Day and the Family Picnic. Your support of Sarah is invaluable, and we ask that you continue to support our organization. We currently have 148 members, and the club would like each and every one of you to renew. See w8wky.org for more information and links to renew your membership or join us for the very first time. Break. Sarah is looking for presenters and speakers at our monthly meetings. No professionally prepared materials are necessary. Just be enthusiastic to share something about your amateur radio interests. Sarah can help create slides and other materials if needed. Give our members some new blood at the meetings. Contact Jason McCormick, N8EI, if you are willing to help. That is the end of all the announcements I have. Are there any other stations with net announcements? Hearing nothing, we will now start our round of in and out check-ins. If you would like to be an in and out check-in, I'm going to go down by counties, and please check in with your name and as well as your call sign. So with that, if you'd like to be an in and out check-in and you are from Summit County, please come now.
Whiskey Bravo 8, Victor Mike Whiskey, Jim in Barberton.
Kilo Echo 8, Oscar Whiskey X-Ray, Thomas in Niagara Falls. Kilo Echo 8, Victor Quebec, X-Ray, Joe in Akron.
Kilo Delta 8, Zulu Sierra Hotel, Randy in Akron, in and out.
Net Control, please check in and out. November 9, Tango November. Again, N9TN. Name here is JJ, located in Boring, Tennessee.
This is Jason, N8EI. Norton, good evening, everyone. See you Thursday, N8EI.
Okay, in and out check-ins we have so far from Summit County are WB8VMW Jim, KE8OWX Thomas, KE8VXQ Joe, KD8ZSH Randy, N9TN JJ, and N8EI Jason. Do we have anyone else that would like to be an in from Summit County?
Whiskey 8, Charlie Tango Mike, carry it, Portage Lakes, in and out.
Okay, we've added W8CTM Carrie, the closer for the barometer net. Thank you for checking in, Carrie. Well, let's now move on to in and out check-ins from Cuyahoga, Portage, or Geauga counties. Cuyahoga, Portage, and Geauga County in and outs, please call now.
Right. This is AB8MO, Alpha Bravo 8 Mike Oscar. Andrew in Newberry, in and out.
Okay, we have AB8MO Andrew. Thank you for your check-in. Well, let's move on to Medina County now. If you're in Medina County and would like to be an in and out check-in, the Silvercreek Amateur Radio Association Weekly Club Net, please call now. Okay, no in and outs for Medina County. We'll move on to Stark County. Any in and outs for Stark County, please call now.
November Tango, Tom in Canton.
I've copied KE8SDQ Ryan and KA8MNT Tom. Are there any other in and out check-ins from Stark County? If so, please call now.
KG7, all in Ashland.
Kilo Echo 8 Victor Yankee Kilo, Brendan in North Canton, in and out, 73 all.
KE8 URQ, Roger in Canton, in and out.
Okay, we have added from Stark County, KG7 IRJ Paul, KE8 VYK Brendan, and KE8 URQ Roger. Anyone else from Stark County, in and out? Okay, nothing heard. Let's move on now to Wayne, Holmes, or Ashland County. If you'd like to be in and out from Wayne, Holmes, or Ashland County, please come now with your call sign and your name.
November 8 Echo Alpha India, Jim, Doylestown.
This is Kilo Delta 8 Sierra Lima Golf, KD8 SLG, Nick in Orville, in and out. Thanks, Jerry.
Kilo Echo 8 Juliet November Hotel, Doug and Rittman, in and out.
Kilo Echo 8 India Mike Echo, David, Sterling, Ohio, in and out.
Kilo Delta 8 Charlie Mike November, Cars in Worcester, in and out.
KB8 LNK, Ron in Orville, in and out.
Okay, from Wayne, Holmes, or Ashland counties, I have N8EI Jim, KD8SLG Just Nick, KE8JNH Doug, KE8IME David, KD8CMN Harv, and KD8LNK Ron. Do we have any other in and outs from Wayne, Holmes, or Ashland counties? If so, please call. Okay, nothing heard. We'll now take in and outs from anyone, anywhere. If you can hear this and you'd like to be in and out, please call now.
W8WKY.
November 8, Whiskey Sugar, Bill in New London. Huron County.
WD8MIU, Wade in Florida.
Okay, so far we have N8WS, Bill, National Weather Service, and WD8MIU, Wade. Do we have any other in and out check-ins from anywhere? Okay, nothing heard. We will now move on to regular check-ins. If you would like to take a chance at the trivia question or make comments, we're going to take regular check-ins. So once again, we're going to start with Summit County. So if you'd like to check in, please come now using your call sign and your name.
Alpha 8, Charlie Sierra. The name here is Gary. Good evening, Jerry, again.
Kilo Echo 8, Victor, Quebec, X-Ray, Joe in Akron. I did not mean to check in and out. Sorry, Jerry.
Okay, so far we have AA8CS Gary and KE8VXQ Joe, and that's quite all right, Joe, not a problem. Do we have any other regular check-ins from Summit County? If so, please call now.
November Tango, 8 Delta, NT8D, Dave and Copley.
Whiskey Oscar 3 X-Ray, WO3X, John in Cuyahoga Falls.
Okay, we've added WB8CXO Mike, NT8D Dave, and WO3X John. Do we have any other regular check-ins from Summit County?
KG4 SCK Mark Copley.
Okay, we've added KG4 SCK Mark. Good to hear you. Okay, let's now move on to Cuyahoga, Portage, or Geauga counties for check-ins.
KZ8 RLD. KZ8 RLD.
We have KZ8 RLD. Good to hear you, Bob. Thank you. Do we have any other check-ins from Cuyahoga, Portage, or Geauga County?
N8PZD. The name is Clark. Nova 8 Purple Zucchini Delta.
All right, we have you in the log, Clark, N8PZD. Okay, let's now move on to Medina County. Regular check-ins from Medina County, please call now.
Whiskey 8 Tango Mike, Choo-Choo's in Wadsworth.
KE8QFT, Fred in Medina.
We've added WW8TM Choo-Choos and KE8QFT Uncle Fred. Do we have any other regular check-ins from Medina County? If so, please call now. Okay, we will now move on to Stark County. Regular check-ins from Stark County. Please call now.
Good evening. Kilo, Zulu, Ocho, Bravo, Limo, Delta, Brian, Canal Fulton, in and out. KZ8, BLD.
Kilo, Echo, 8, Uniform, India, Bravo, KD8, UIB, John in Massillon.
Okay, from Stark County, we have KZ8BLD Brian and KE8UIB John. Any other regular check-ins for Stark County? Okay, we're taking regular check-ins for the Silvercreek Amateur Radio Association Weekly Club Net. We are now take regular check-ins from Wayne Holmes or Ashland County. If you'd like to be a regular check-in, please call now. Okay, no one from Wayne Holmes or Ashland County. We will now take regular check-ins from anyone, anywhere. If you'd like to check into the Silvercreek Amateur Radio Club Net, please come now using your call sign and your name.
November 8, Mike Kilo Romeo, John in East Akron, checking in and out.
Whiskey 2, Juliet Lima, Sierra, John in Fairlawn.
Okay, we've added N8MKR John in and out. Thank you for checking in with us. And W2JLS John. Okay, one last call before we go to the trivia question for regular check-ins. Okay, nothing heard. Well, thanks everyone for checking in. Tonight's trivia question. Next week is President's Day, so I thought to do a little bit of presidential trivia. And don't look it up, just have fun with it. You know, it doesn't matter if you get it wrong, it's all right. It's not important. It's just for fun. Okay, trivia question is, what U.S. president was a licensed bartender? What U.S. president was a licensed bartender? Your choices are A, Ronald Reagan, B, Donald Trump, C, Abraham Lincoln, or D, George W. Bush. And that's the younger Bush, not Daddy Bush. This is George II. George W. Bush is Delta. Once again, what U.S. president was a licensed bartender? Your choices are A, Ronald Reagan, B, Donald Trump, C, Abraham Lincoln, or D, George W. Bush. And we're going to go to the top of the list right now with Alpha 8 Charlie Sierra. Gary, good evening. Good to hear you. What do you think the answer to the trivia question is? And KE8VQX is on deck.
All right, Jerry, nice job. Nice job with the question. W8WKY, this is AA8CS. Wow, the only outlier I see there is kind of Lincoln, so I'm going to go with C, and my edict has always been, especially when Eric Mast is not doing the trivia questions. If I don't know, take C. So anyway, I'm thinking all those other guys are probably pretty good drinkers, and Lincoln, I don't know about that. I think if anything, he would have been a bartender. So I'm going to go with Charlie. I do want to make a couple comments about Dan. Let me grab just a quick second.
W8WKY.
All right, somebody else is doing business tonight as W8WKY. Jerry, I have talked to Dan on the radio so many times, and I've seen him in person a couple times as well. But who could forget the banter, back and forth between him and Russ, WBA, UPA, just good-natured kidding, the fanfare, da-da-da-da, and the good-natured kidding about him following John, W03X, in order to get the correct trivia question right. I mean, that's just stuff that made the net special and made the people on the net special, and Dan was one of those people. He will be missed. N8DLD, Dan, the number man. We're going to miss you, buddy. With that, let me just turn it back to net. Jerry, thanks for being here. We really appreciate it. W8WKY, this is AA8CS. 73, everybody, have a great Valentine's Day.
Well, thank you, Gary. It is a pleasure to be here, and a pleasure to have you on the net, as always. Thank you for sharing memories of Dan. That's awesome. And I have your trivia question answer as Charlie. Okay, we will now move on to KE8VQX. That is Joe. Good evening, Joe. What do you think the answer to the trivia question is? And share any memories you have of Dan if you have any. And on deck we have WB8CXO, Mike on deck.
Why, this is KE8QX. New Dan, I've only been a member since September. On the radio, everybody. As far as the trivia question goes, I don't know. George W. Bush seems like a pretty good party guy, so I'm going to guess maybe it's him. Although maybe he wasn't the bartender, he was probably partaking back in his college days. But anyway, that's D Delta. That's my answer. And once again, thanks, Jerry, for letting me in, and sorry for saying I was in and out. I was distracted when you were saying that. So, W8WKY, this is KE8VQX. Back to that, 73.
Well, it's great to have you here, Joe. Thank you for checking in with us, and no need to apologize. We're just glad to have you here and appreciate your check-in. And I have your trivia question answer as Delta. Once again, this is the Silvercreek Amateur Radio Association Weekly Club Net. At net control this week is Jerry. That's with a Juliet at the beginning. My personal call sign is Kilo Charlie 8 Hotel Delta Papa. But during this net, I'll be using the club call of Whiskey 8 Whiskey Kilo Yankee. Okay, we now go to Mike, WB8LXO. Thank you for being here, Mike. What do you think the answer to the trivia question is? And NT8D, Dave is on deck. Well, thank you for taking the time out of your day to check in with us, Mike. Great to have you on the net. And it's okay. There's nothing much going on. That's a lot of times a good thing. And I have your trivia question answer as Alpha. Thank you once again. We now move on to the main cat herder of the barometer net. That is NT8D Dave. Good evening, Dave. What do you think the answer to the trivia question is? And WO3X John is on deck.
Good evening there, Jerry. Everybody on the net, anybody who might be listening this evening, I hope everybody's having a good start to their week. I'm going to try to swing out Wadsworth Way before the meeting on Thursday. Depends on how busy it gets. Been trying to take advantage of this nice weather to get some boat work done, doing lots of sanding. But I've got the masts and spars pretty much ready to start finishing, and then I got to build some jaws for them so that they can attach to the booms. The booms can attach to the mast, so I have to make that structure and bolt that on eventually. But the mast and spars are all shaped and sanded and ready to take some tongue oil there. Hopefully we'll see some of y'all at the meeting on Thursday. Looking forward to the new digs. Never been there. Sounds like fun, and I hear the food is very good. Answer the trivia. Break. Let's see. I don't think anybody needed a bartending license back in Lincoln's day, so I'm going to scratch him out. This is process of elimination. I don't think Donald ever served anybody. I mean, I don't think he ever served anybody ever in his life. I agree with the other guy in there. I think Bush was on the other side of the bar. So that just leaves Reagan. So I'm going to go with Alpha there, Jerry. Interesting trivia question. Back to net control, WAWKY and TAT.
Well, thank you for the update on the boat, Dave. That sounds like things are going really well for it, and once that is completed, you'll have quite a sense of accomplishment and pride with that. And, yes, thank you for your answer to the trivia question. I have it for Alpha. And thanks for all you do with the barometer net and being net control here in the evenings, too, and hope to see you in person soon. Thank you once again, Dave. We now move on to WO3X. That is John. Good evening, John. Thank you for being here. What is your answer to the trivia question? And we have KG4 SDK Mark on deck.
Well, thank you very much for the invite, Jerry. Wow. I feel like a new hen that's flown out of the nest, flying through the troposphere, and see how many times I can bump my head on the ionosphere. So, here we go. I totally agree with Mike about the licensed bartender, and usually play to win, but you said, let's have fun with it, so I am. And not looking it up. And being a previous short order cook / bartender on the beach, my gut feeling is A, Ronald Reagan. So, yeah, that's the story. Back over to you. Thank you very much, Jerry, in Net Control.
Well, thank you, Mark, for checking in with us. It was a pleasure to meet you on the air last night. For those of you who don't know, Mark is new to the area, and he's just getting back into the hobby again, and had a good time talking with him last night and invited him to the net. And, well, thank you, Mark, for coming by and checking in with me. Great to have you here, and hope to hear you on the air a lot more, and you're welcome to come to the Sarah meetings as well. It's a great group, a great club, and glad to have you in the area, and so thank you for being here, Mark. Well, we now go to WO3X, almost at W03X. That is John. Good evening, John. Thank you for being here. What is your answer to the trivia question? And KZ8RLD Bob is on deck.
W8WKY.
Good evening, Jerry, and all on the net. This is WO3X. On Saturday, my wife and I went on a geocaching tour in search of 20 geocaches in an area that I'm not familiar with, which was we went on 480 westbound and went north on 130th Street and got one geocache on west 126th Street, which is a big box on a guy's front porch, and the box has 2 culmination locks on it. That was the first one. And then we went a little bit northeast of there and got several others, and then went west somewhat over toward Fairview Park, and then came back down to Brook Park and got several more there. Went down Smith Road and then Pearl Road to Strongsville and got a few of them there, and then got one in Brunswick, and then that was the end of the tour there. But meanwhile, I was telling her about Russ and Dan and I on this net here about what you were saying about Russ would say that he had already put Dan's answer down when I gave mine before Dan checked in. So that was a lot of fun there. So regarding the trivia question, I think I'm going to go with, I was going to go along with Gary, but Dave's reasoning there sounds pretty good. So I'm going to go with A Alpha, Ronald Reagan. Back to you, Jerry. W8 WKY, this is WO3X.
Well, it sounds like you had a great time geocaching. Sounds like you had quite an adventure there, expanded over quite an area. I hope you really did enjoy it. That sounds like a lot of fun. And thank you for sharing the memories of Dan. Yes, that was great, with Russ and you and Dan. So thank you for being here, John. And I have your trivia question answer as Alpha. And we'll catch up with you again soon, I'm sure. Thank you once again. Well, let's go to KZ8RLD. That is Bob. Good evening, Bob. What do you think the answer to the trivia question is? And hope your coffee was hot this morning. And N8PZD Clark is on deck.
W8WKY, KZ8RLD. Evening, everybody on the net for South family. I'm going to go with Alpha Mike. That's everybody on 373 KZ8RLD.
Well, thank you for checking in with us, Bob. Good to hear you on the net. Thank you for taking the time to be here. I have your trivia question answer as Alpha. Well, let's now go to N8PZD. Nobody ate purple zucchini downtown. That is Clark. I think I know what Clark's answer to the trivia question is. It's probably peppermint ice cream, but we'll see. And we have WW8TM Choo-Choos on deck.
I'm going to stray off of the gallery and go closer to reality. I'm going to get some of the others mentioned. Bartender and bartender's lessons in Lincoln's Day. I would have gone in that direction. But I, too, don't think there was a bartending license in them days. They had an awful lot of and booze built America. We all know that. So, back to next, and thanks for taking my call.
Clark, Yeah, you kind of broke up when you were giving your answer to the trivia question. Could you please repeat your answer to the trivia question? Still didn't get it, Clark. I heard everything until you were going to give the answer, and then it went away. Try it one more time once again.
Ronald Reagan, mHZ, back to net.
Got it that time, Clark. Have your trivia question answer as Alpha, Ronald Reagan. Thanks for joining us, Clark. Good to have you here. And, well, I'm sure we'll catch up with you on the Beacon net. Okay, we now move on to WW8TM. That is Choo Choo's. Good evening, Choo Choo's. Good to hear you on the net. Haven't heard you a lot lately, but good to have you here. Thanks for taking the time to check in with us. What do you think the answer to the trivia question is? And we have Uncle Fred on deck.
W8WKY, this is WW8TM. Hello to you, Jerry, and I hope everybody on the net is doing well. The answer I'm going to give for the trivia net will be C. Charlie Abe Lincoln. And just an FYI, my wife works at a local nursing home here in town, and she had a fresh new admit today, and while talking to him, he seemed a little bit down and out, and she found out that he was a ham operator. Gave a call sign of Kilo Alpha 8 Lima Kilo Queen. Apparently he hasn't been on the air for the last 3 years, and all he talked about was the Sarin group in the barometer net every morning, how much he misses it. So my wife has got permission to sneak me inside on Saturday and see what gear he has and see if we can get him on the air. So anybody that's ever had any dealings with nursing homes and helping other hams setting up, if you got tips and tricks, I'd be more than happy to hear them. Back over to you.
Well, good to have you here, Choo Choo's. Thanks for checking in with us, and thank you for giving us an update on Richard, KA8LKQ. No wonder we haven't heard him for a while. So, yeah, hopefully we can get him back on the air here. So, good to hear you, Choo Choo's. Thanks for stopping by, and I have your trivia question answer as Charlie. Okay, we will now go to KE8QFT. That is Uncle Fred. He's my uncle, your uncle, everyone's uncle. Thank you for giving us an update on Dan's services, Fred. And thank you for being our liaison to him and Leah. And what do you think the answer to the trivia question is?
Oh, thanks once again. I think the answer to trivia is C, Charlie. I wasn't going to say that because everyone was picking Reagan, but I mean, back in Lincoln's days, I mean, gee whiz, the Vice President of the United States got in a duel with somebody. I mean, things were different back then. For some reason, I want to go with Lincoln. Yeah, let me break for just a second. Once again, if anybody missed it and you grabbed a pen and maybe you didn't get the information in time, Dan's services are Thursday, February 16th from 5 to 7 p.m. So you'd have enough time to stop for a few minutes anyhow and then head on to Barberton, as it's in Wadsworth, 174 North Lyman Street, Hilliard Rospert Funeral Home. And if anyone needs any more information, please email me, ke8qft@yahoo.com. Oh, back to net control.
Well, thank you for repeating the information about Dan, and that's a good idea. Yeah, I could stop by Dan's services and then move on to the Sarah meeting. I have your trivia question answer as C, and thank you for being here, Fred. Good to have you here, and we'll talk to you again soon. Well, before we go to Brian, I want to remind everyone that this is the Silvercreek Amateur Radio Association Weekly Club Net. Net control this evening is Jerry. That's with a Juliet at the beginning. And my personal call sign is Kilo Charlie 8 Hotel Delta Papa, but using the club call of Whiskey 8 Whiskey Kilo Yankee. And we now do go to Brian, KZ8BLD. Good to have you here, Brian. What do you think the answer to the trivia question is? And we have KE8UIB John on deck.
Hey, good morning to everybody out there. You always run a good net, and I know a lot of times I'm just in and out, but I do like to stop by when I can. Keeping Dan in our prayers, and fortunately I got to talk on the radio to him there one of his last days, and he's one of those iconic figures that always been our hearts on the Browner net as well as the Sarah net. From my end, I'll go with Ronald Reagan. I think it was Alpha. And other than that, everybody have a great week. I'll look for you next week. 73's KZ8BLD.
Well, I look forward to hearing you again next week as well, Brian. Thank you for being here and sharing the memories of Dan. And I have your trivia question answer as Alpha, which is Ronald Reagan. Well, we now go back to start counting now. KE8UIB, that is John. Good evening, John. Thanks for checking in with us. What do you think the answer to the trivia question is? And we have W2JLS John on deck.
Good evening, Jerry, and everybody out there on the net. My answer to the trivia question, deep down inside, I really think it's Bush. But as you guys know, my brother's a fellow ham, and we have my mom and dad set up so they can scan and listen to the nets as we check in. And my mom had messaged me, and she really thinks it's Trump. So I think since nobody has picked B, I will be a trooper here, and I'll take B for Bravo. And we'll see where that ends up. But I really do feel like it's a trick question, Bush. But with that, we all know me. I love to live that $5 dream, a nickel at a time. And with that, this is KE8UIB. I will hand this back over to Net Control 73, y'all.
Well, good to hear you, John. Thank you for checking in with us this evening. And thank you for picking B, because now all the answers are picked, so someone is going to get it right. So, good deal, John. Thanks for being here. And, yeah, enjoy that $5 dream a nickel at a time. Good to hear you. Well, N8MKR, John, was in and out, so we will now go to the bottom of the list. Last but not least, W2JLS, John. Good to have you here, John. What do you think the answer to the trivia question is? W2JLS, John, you're up. What do you think the answer to the trivia question is?
Hey, Jerry. Hopefully you can hear me here. I had my mic unplugged. Let me just double check. Am I okay?
Oh, you're perfect into the net.
Awesome. Thanks for that. And also, thanks for, designating that I'm last but not least. I'll say last among equals, if I'm being generous to myself. I will go with Ronald Reagan for my guess on the trivia question tonight. Honestly, I can't see any of those guys for various reasons being a licensed bartender, but maybe Reagan because of his early career in acting and all of that. I don't know. But it's difficult to imagine Trump and Bush with their social status ever doing that. And I can only imagine Lincoln maybe in a period of time. I don't know anything about bartending back then, so I would have to agree with NTAD on that. Sounds like maybe you didn't need a license back then. So anyway, let's see. I had maybe relative to our friend who's passed. I did meet Dan one time. It was at the Maps Museum for a ham fest, and I want to say it was 2 years ago, maybe. And I'm sitting here saying it was the Maps Museum, but I'm not sure. It was definitely at one of those events, and it was in cooler weather, and I got to meet him that day, and he was a really nice guy. Always liked him on the air. And he was always in there for, you always say, I'm in there for one for the numbers. And I really was excited when Uncle Fred was telling us that he'd made a turn for the positive. I was looking forward to hearing that again someday. And I'm really very sorry for his family and his girlfriend. It's a real shame for sure. He'll be missed on the air with us for sure. Anyway, W2JLS, passing it back to you, Jerry. Thanks for having me in there tonight.
Well, thank you for being here, John. Great to have you on the net as always. And I have a trivia question as Alpha, Ronald Reagan. And thank you for sharing your memories of Dan. I have similar memories of him. That is the bottom of the list I have. We'll open up the Silvercreek Amateur Radio Association once again for more check-ins. And if we get more check-ins, I'll reread the question, the trivia question, and give people a chance to answer it. So if you'd like to join us on the Silvercreek Amateur Radio Association net, please come now using your call sign and your name.
ABW Zeke. Mark. W8 GMF Gary. KE8QFT Fred Recheck. So open.
Okay, we've added AB8OU Zeke, W8GMF Gary, and K8PJW Philip. And we have Fred with a recheck. Uncle Fred, go ahead with your recheck.
K8FQV checked in.
Walker, how to serve your memory?
Okay. K8QFT, do I have it?
Yes, Fred, you have it. I have KC8FQV Mark checked in, and yes, go ahead, Fred, with your recheck.
Mark making an open key right now.
Okay, well, I first met Dan because talking over the radio, some of my places I had worked before, and one of those was at Par Industries in Medina. Par Industries closed down, oh geez, maybe like 15 years ago or more. But it was a nice modern metal stamping plant, and had plastics on the other side, mold ejection plastic, and I was talking to someone on the radio, and Dan came back and said, asked me, where did you work in Medina? And I told him. Well, it turns out we were working at the same place. We didn't know each other at all. But we were working at the same place. Let me break for a second.
W8WKY.
Hey, I got that right on time, huh? Dan worked on the other side. He worked in the other building. He worked on the plastic side, and I was doing metal stamping, and we never met. But you know, due to that radio conversation, well, I got with Dan, and it was before the Trunk Fest they had in Maslin a couple years ago, you know, when they didn't have the full-fledged ham fest because of COVID, and I had just gotten into ham radio a few months before, and Dan said he wished he could go, but he's having problems with his car. I said, I'll pick you up. So we rode out there and had a good time. I remember seeing John out there at that Trunk Fest. And, you know, from then I saw Dan a couple of times, that's all. We talked mostly on the radio. Then after I had heard Dan had a heart attack, I couldn't say nothing about it for 2 weeks because I couldn't confirm it with the hospital there in Barberton. But finally, one night his girlfriend found my phone number in Dan's cell phone as she was looking to get a hold of someone from the club to let us know what happened. And fortunately, she found my number, and you know, and the rest is history. I was able to follow up on Dan for the club, and oh boy, yep, we thought he was going to turn the corner. The light at the end of the tunnel, he was walking right out of the woods, and I mean, that's just the way she goes. But we must go on. K8QFD, thanks to everybody for your time, and back to net control.
Well, thanks to you once again, Uncle Fred, especially for being our liaison to him and for keeping us updated and sharing your memories of Dan with us. We appreciate that. Well, we'll see if there's anyone else waiting to check into the net via regular check-in. Well, let me know if you're in and out or regular. Please come now with your call sign and your name.
Gerald 8, Fox, Queen, Victor, Mark.
Okay, have you checked in, Mark, KC8FQV? Well, before we go to Zeke, we will read the trivia question once again so that anyone who would like to can give a guess at it. This week's trivia question is, what U.S. president was a licensed bartender? Your choices are A, Ronald Reagan, B, Donald Trump, C, Abraham Lincoln, or D, George W. Bush. Once again, what U.S. president was a licensed bartender? A, Ronald Reagan, B, Donald Trump, C, Abraham Lincoln, or D, George W. Bush. We now go to AB8OU, Zeke. Good to hear you, Zeke. Thanks for being here. You can answer the trivia question if you like or not. And W8GMF Gary is on deck.
Hi, B8OU. Good evening, everyone. Not much here, just sitting here dozing off. Gary isn't even the net control tonight. Well, anyway, I hope to see a lot of people Thursday night at the meeting. Everyone have a good week, and stay warm or stay dry. AB8OU.
Well, thank you for checking in with us on the net, Zeke. Great to hear from you. Miss seeing you at breakfast Saturday mornings, but hope you're doing well. And, yeah, I unfortunately will not be making it to the meeting Thursday. I really wanted to go, but I will be giving a VE test to a handicapped person who wants to upgrade to general, and decided to do that instead. So they needed another VE, so I'm taking care of that Thursday. But thank you once again for being here, Zeke. Good to hear from you. Hey, let's go down to Worcester now with W8GMF Gary. Good to have you here, Gary. What do you think the answer to the trivia question is? And we have Philip on deck.
Yeah, good evening, Jerry and Annette. This is W8GMF. Don't have much. I'd have probably been in and out, but I'll take a stab at your deal. I don't have a real clue. I would guess that my guess would probably be. You didn't say which Bush, I don't think, but my guess would be it would be the junior Bush. He certainly liked to put him away when he was in college, I know. But knowing that he came up in poverty and everything, I guess I will take. I think it was Ronald Reagan as my official guess, and think I should have probably picked on the Bush guy. So back to you, Jerry, and as usual, thanks for running the net. 7-3.
Hey, thanks for joining us on the net, Gary. Good to hear from you. I have your trivia question answer as Alpha, and yes, for clarification, George W. Bush is the younger Bush, Jr. So thanks once again, Gary. Well, we'll now go to K8PJW, one of the K8 trifecta, Philip. Good evening, Philip. What do you think the answer to the trivia question is? And KC8FQV Mark is on deck.
W8WKY, K8PJW. Good evening, Jerry, and good evening to all the Serenet operators and listeners. It's great to hear everyone. I think I'm going to jump on the Alpha bandwagon. That seems like the most logical guess to me from all the conversation I've heard. And don't really know any of those gentlemen all that much other than, what you hear in the news. But anyway, yeah, I was at Scouts tonight. We managed to get out on time, and so I was able to jump in on the end of the net here. So it's good to hear you. Thanks for doing the net. I didn't know Dan all that well. I just knew him from the barometer net, and I think I heard him on the PCARS net once in a while too. So I hand it back to you. This is K8PJW. Back to the net. Good evening.
Well, thank you for joining us on the net, Philip. Good to hear from you. I have your trivia question as Alpha, and thank you for your comments. Hope to catch you again on the air soon. Well, we now go to KC8FQV Mark. Good to hear you, Mark. What do you think the answer to the trivia question is? And feel free to share any memories of Dan you have.
All right, KC, Fox Queen Victor. Yeah, I just remember hearing him being the numbers man. He would always say that. He was always on that barometer net. He was on this net, I think, a lot of times too. But other than that, on the trivia, Abraham Lincoln. I'm going to say Abraham Lincoln. And I did a few nets tonight. Didn't do a local areas down in Cleveland. I was going to get there, but didn't. We got the traffic net coming up now. So, other than that, here this month is rolling right along. I just wonder what's going to happen. Are we going to have, let's hope winter don't push itself out. Let's hope winter just doesn't come. Maybe it won't. I don't know. So, we'll send it back to net control, ECFQV.
Well, thank you for joining us on the net, Mark. Good to hear from you. I have your trivia question answer as Charlie. And thank you for your comments. And, yeah, hopefully spring is sprung and on its way. Well, that is the bottom of the list. So I will go to myself and let everyone know that we have 4 correct answers to the trivia question this evening. What U.S. president was a licensed bartender? That was Abraham Lincoln. And the first one to give the correct answer was AA8CS Gary. And we also have Choo-Choos, WW8TM, KE8QFT Fred, and KC8FQV Mark. everyone tries to, avoid C when they're giving as the answer, because if you don't know it, you pick C. But I use that as a factor in having the correct answer as C. And plus, like I say, I gave more recent presidents, 3 of them that kind of throw things off, and that seems to have worked. So anyway, once again, the correct answer is C, Abraham Lincoln. He was a licensed bartender. So I'd like to thank, does anyone have anything else for the net before we go?
WB4AIZ, just put me down for Taylor and Charlie. No comments.
Okay, we have you down as Charlie. Thank you. With that, we will close the Silvercreek Amateur Radio Association Weekly Club Net at 9:05 p.m. We had 39 check-ins plus net control day. That makes 40. So I'd like to thank everyone for taking time out of their Valentine's Day to check in with me. I enjoyed taking your check-ins and hearing all of your comments. And thank you for having fun with the trivia question. That was awesome. So with that, for the Silvercreek Amateur Radio Association, this is Kilo Charlie 8 Hotel Delta Papa KC8HDP. Jerry from Shreve saying, I hope to hear you all again next week, 7-3, and return the repeater back to regular amateur use.